here. My name is Sandena Neely, and just to unpack that, I am a wife, I am a mom, I am an attorney at law by profession. I function currently as a consultant at the Ministry of Youth, Sports, and Culture, where I get to lead the young people of our nation, and that is such an amazing experience. That is literally my passion colliding with my purpose. And we'll talk more about that. But that is a whole story in and of itself that would take an entire masterclass to unpack how I came to be to the space I'm in right now. And I'm so very, very grateful for the opportunity to get to serve our nation in this way. I am also a very passionate person. I am passionate about young people. I'm passionate about women's empowerment. I say that I'm multi-passioned. That's the word that I like to use. So I'm not boxed in. I'm not tied in. I don't have just one passion. And it's so good when you can flourish and be free to explore other areas. And so one of the areas we're going to explore tonight is women's empowerment. And I want to thank our host, Stephen Sands, who has put together an amazing platform. If you're not aware, it's been going on for the entire month of May. It's called the Bridge Masterclass. Stephen is the CEO of Grace Management Group. Follow them on Facebook, please. And you can also tune into more masterclasses. They happen at least twice a day, and you can catch the replays at any time if you're not able to log on live, or if you have to leave this session, you can always come back and catch the replay. We can always make that available to you privately if you need as well. And so I want to thank all the amazing presenters who have gone before me. They have done a superb job. As you all know, we're in a lockdown for, for the COVID-19 outbreak. And so everyone is basically sheltering in place and holed up in their home. Either you're leaving just to go to work or to get essentials. So this masterclass could not have come at a better time for persons to just be able to learn and to grow and to excel and to evolve, and all the things that happens when you use your mind. And so this masterclass is one of those amazing ideas. And so I just want to give a shout out, huge shout out to Stefan for putting this together. And so I just want to give an overview of what we're going to be going over this evening. So I'll tell you a bit about myself, and then we'll talk about why women's empowerment. Sometimes it's a cliche for people, and we'll talk about just a short bit about why women's empowerment is important. And then we'll look at expression, authenticity, what it means to be your best self, how to be true to who you are as a woman. And then we'll wrap everything up with a topic that I absolutely love, which is called self care. And that synergizes everything, that brings everything together. Because if we're not able to take care of ourselves, we're not able to empower anybody else, we're not able to give to anybody else. And we're going to talk about what that means and why we need to be putting on our masks first. So it's very ominous that we're now wearing masks every day, and what that means. That takes a while to unpack. So I don't know if we're going to be able to get into the topic of adorning masks at this time, but that in and of itself is a whole topic, in the masks that we all wear, especially as women, and why we need to wear them, when we should wear them, how we should wear them, when to take them off. That's a whole other conversation, but I just wanted to give you an overview, and then we're gonna get into some shout outs. Some of the persons I want to shout out are actually in the room, and once we get into it, we'll see why the shout outs that I'm gonna do is very important, and then I'll take some questions. Sounds good? Very good. So repeat after me. I am strong. I am beautiful. I am powerful beyond measure. This year, I will not allow what I see to make me forget what God said. One more time. I am strong. I am beautiful. I am powerful beyond measure. This year, 2020, coronavirus or not, I will not allow what I see to make me forget what God said. So that mantra is our backdrop to everything that we're going to do tonight. And when we close out, we're going to close out with that same mantra. When we close out, I want you to take your mics off of mute and I want us to all say it together. I am strong. I am beautiful. I am powerful beyond measure. This year, I will not let, I will not allow what I see to make me forget what God said. A couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity in early March to speak to a group of young women, and I coined this mantra for them, slightly different at the end, and they soaked it in. It was so phenomenal to get them to stand and to say that together. It was about 50 to 60 very impressionable 15 to 17-year-old young women, and it's just as powerful for us as it is for them. And so, like I said at the end, we'll come back to the mantra, but mantras are super powerful, super important. We have to be always careful of what we tell ourselves, the story we tell ourselves, what we're constantly saying, what we're intaking, what we're interning, what we're interning. We have to be super careful and we have to manage ourselves very, very well. And the things that we say to ourselves, the things we say to us, when we say self, we have to be so careful about what we say because our words have power. One of our masterclass lecturers, he says words are things, and they are. They are. They absolutely are. And so, just a bit about my story. I wasn't always the person you see here today. In high school, I was a very, sometimes in high school you get confused. I think high school is a very big discovery time for most of us. And so I was very confused in high school. I always felt that I had greatness inside of me, but I never knew how to unearth it or how to unpack it. So, there was a lot of rebellion, there was a lot of confusion. I wasn't living up to my fullest potential. I wasn't the best student that I could possibly be. I don't know if you've ever looked at your report cards that teachers would give out, but they write notes on them sometimes. And my parents can tell you one of the notes that would almost always be written is that she's not reaching her full potential, has ability, has potential, but not fulfilling. And, sometimes I used to look at it and it used to make me upset. I was upset because I was so confused about what that meant. What do they mean I'm not living up to my full potential? And as I learned more and as I grew, as I left the safety of high school, I didn't think of it as safety at that point, but as I left the safety of school, and I had to navigate the world for myself, I came to some very harsh realities and it forced me to grow. And so the person you see here has been through a journey. And I'm still on a journey. It's an amazing journey. It's a better journey than it was before in the past, where there were a lot of bumps and a lot of obstacles and just a lot of hiccups. Now I'm able to navigate more smoothly. Are there still obstacles? Yes. Are there still hiccups and roadblocks? Yes. What has changed? My approach, my mindset, the way I look at these things. I choose to see opportunity in everything. Can anything good come out of COVID-19? Absolutely. You're all here. That's a testament that we're all here, locked in arms, ready to grow, ready to excel, ready to evolve. We're not just sitting down mindlessly. We're being very mindful. We're being very intentional in these moments. And so you're looking at someone who has grown over the years, and it is such a pleasure and such a joy to now be where I am in life and to be on this journey. And so I want to go very quickly into what we're discussing this evening. And so why women's empowerment? Women's empowerment is so important. It is so critical. Women need to be empowered. Women need to empower each other because women are givers. It's not any more difficult or complex than that. And I think you all know what I mean. Whether you're a mother, a wife, a student, whether you're an entrepreneur, whatever it is you are constantly giving. And so persons like me who love women's empowerment, I see that. I feel that when I connect with women, I match your energy. I feel your energy. I'm connected to you. And I'm able to discern what it is you may need at a particular time. Do you need a word of encouragement? Do you need a listening ear? Do you need a shoulder? Do you need access to something? Do you need something to be unearthed? Do you need coaching? Do you need to find out how to be more resilient? There are, any number of things. There are a plethora of things that women need in order to continue to evolve and to continue to be empowered, because for as long as we are alive, we are going to be givers. That's just our natural, innate ability for us to be givers. And so that is why women's empowerment is so important. And so when we look at women's empowerment, self-expression and authenticity have to be almost at the very top of the list. When we talk about self-expression, that same confused 14, 15-year-old in St. Augustine's College, that was me. I had no idea how to express myself. I knew that I had greatness inside of me, but I didn't quite know what that meant or how to unearth it or how to bring it out. I was apologizing for who I was. And so if you're taking notes, and I encourage you to take notes, I intentionally did not do a PowerPoint because I want you to, one, receive and take in everything that we're experiencing in this moment. I want us to be very mindful. But if you are taking notes, the first note under self-expression is to be unapologetically you. Be unapologetically you. Dr. Seuss says nobody can be you than you. Well, he's absolutely correct. There are billions of people on the earth. There are so many people on the earth. And the way God has it designed is that there are no two people alike. That alone is mind-blowing. That alone should make you think and feel that there has to, it only follows that there has to be something special and peculiar about you if he didn't make two. That means then whatever is wrapped up, locked inside of you has to come out, because you are a gift to the world. And we cannot afford for you to hide, to shirk the responsibility of being you. We can't let Danica and Shaquille and Mikkel and Catherine to hide. I always tell people in the team that I lead at work, I always tell them, I need you to be great. It is a need that I have for the people around me to be great. If they're not great, if they're not living to their fullest potential, if they're not expressing themselves in a very authentic way, then that puts pressure on me, because one, I have to then fill a need that would otherwise be filled by the persons who are being their true selves. And then that also puts pressure on me to unearth and to try to awaken you even more and longer than I would have normally had to if you would be what? Unapologetically you. Does that mean to be rude or bossy or egotistical or self-centered? No. That just means that you flourish in the light that shines around you. And that's why I was so intentional about saying it's time to sparkle and shine, because only you can sparkle and shine at the level that you need to sparkle and shine. And so, yes, I have locks, I have tresses. Did I always know that I would have these? No. This is the self-expression that I happened upon and I embraced and I evolved with. And it made me free. It made me free to be, free to move, free to explore something different and something new. When I was in high school, I had permed hair and I was in the salon every 2 weeks. I didn't even know anything about natural hair. I stumbled upon natural hair, but it's a self expression. Isn't it a beautiful self expression? Isn't it a authentic way to be myself? My mom calls it heritage hairstyles. If she's on, I'm sure she'll have a good laugh. It's my heritage hairstyle. I'm in touch with who I am. This is what makes me feel good. Is this who I'm going to be for the rest of my natural life? I don't know. Am I going to have locks forever? I don't know. Am I ever going to go back to perm? I don't have anything against it. But for right now, for all these years, this is how I have chosen to express myself. And I'm unapologetic about it. And I'll tell you a story. I mean, when I first started growing my locks, I saw somebody that I knew. I was at a function, and he came to me and he said, "You're really doing too much. These hairstyles. What does Javon have to say about this?" Javon is my husband. What does Javon have to say about this? Because every time I see you, you have a different hairstyle. What's going on with you? Why do you have so many different things going on with your hair? And I said, "So you're saying that you want me to be plain? You just want me to have the permed hair, and you just want me to wear it the same way all the time? That's what you're saying to me?" I mean, mind you, he doesn't inform my choices or my decisions, but it was just kind of shocking that somebody would try to impose their thing on you, or their version of you on you and what they think you should be. And that brings us to identity. So if you don't know who you are, people can inform your decisions. People can inform your choices. They can make you think, oh, well, maybe this isn't good for corporate. Maybe I need to look at being like somebody else, or doing something else that's going to appease people. Honey, you're looking at someone who wore locks in corporate. I'm still in corporate. I'm in corporate government, but I was an associate legal counsel, an in-house counsel, a corporate counsel with one of the most fabulous resorts in the entire world, the eighth wonder of the world, called Atlantis. And there was never one day somebody said anything to me about my locks. And I'm glad they didn't, because we would have had to have a come to Jesus meeting when I held their hands. But I was allowed to be who I was. I was allowed to be who I was, and I was proud of it. And I was very unapologetic. So I want us to be bold. I want us to be passionate. I want us to be funny. I want us to be quirky. I want us to be who we are, and don't make apologies for it. That is something that I had to work on, because I was a very apologetic person, especially in my youth. I apologized for everything. I overthought things. I would think about something 15 times before I made a request, even of my parents. I would think, what are they going to say? And then, based on what I think they would say, I would then fashion or shape my question, or refashion it or reshape it. And I would do all of this brain work even before I get to what it is my request is. I would not make my request known before I thought over it like 5.6 million times. No joke. And I'm not saying that you should abandon thought or giving, great thought to things, but I was doing this with even the simplest things, and I was apologizing for who I was. I was apologizing for what I needed. I didn't think that it was important. I didn't think on many levels that I had value, but knowing who you are, that brings value, that adds value to you. You begin to value yourself, and you recognize that value. You recognize that worth. And let me tell you, honey, when we get to talk about feminine power, you're going to see why this is all important. Because guess what? Our value and our worth is all that we have. We don't have control over many things. We don't have control over many things, but our value and our worth, they are some of the things that we absolutely can control. So your identity is key, knowing who you are. That's the only way you're going to be able to express yourself. Can you imagine being a different version of yourself every day. And I don't mean anything clinical or bipolar, but there are some people, they are a different person when they're home, they're a different person when they're at work. When you see them out in certain social settings, when you see them at church, you don't know which version of the person you're going to get. So getting in touch with yourself, your identity is key. And let me tell you why that's so key. Hear me clearly and hear me good. Your identity is key because that is what leads you to your destiny. That is what leads you to your destiny. Let that soak in. Everything that's locked inside of you, everything that's inside of you, we need all of those things to come out. We need your greatness to come out. We need your passion to come out. But if you don't know who you are, how are you going to know what you need to bring out? How are you going to know? We can't know. We're not going to know. Only you are going to know. And so when we get to talk about feminine energy and when we get to talk about self-exploration, yeah, you're going to have to put on your goggles and your swim gear and your tank because we're going to go deep. When we get to talk about those things, this is how you're going to unearth you. And that's a process, and it's continual, and it's fun, it's intense, but it's exciting. And it's something that we all need to journey on. And so our second point is being your best self. Being your best self. Being your best self in the pandemic and beyond the COVID-19. Being your best self now and being your best self. Because I don't know about anybody else, but I know that this time that we're in, this has caused me to look at myself more closely, look at myself more clearly, take inventory. And I don't mean anything cliche. I mean, listen, this thing has brought me to my knees several times, and not just for prayer, for introspection to say, girl, who are you? And what are you really made of? Is this thing going to cause you to crumble? Or are you going to rise up and show your power? What are you going to do? What are you really going to do? Because guess what? We can't jump on a plane and go to New York and have retail therapy and it all goes away for a weekend. We can't do that anymore. In fact, we couldn't even move around the island for a really, really long time. So who did you have? You had you. You had you. And that's the best person to have. That's the best person to have. And so in order to be your best self, if you're taking notes, you can write this down. Make a commitment to yourself. And guess what the commitment is? The commitment is to be unstoppable. Unstoppable. If you've ever seen a river, the river starts out as a very, very, very tiny stream, and nothing on earth, there is no force that is stronger than water. That stream, no matter how many rocks that has to go around, dead animals, carcasses, obstacles, things, grass, mud, seaweed, whatever it has to go around, that needs to get to that lake, that needs to get to that river because that is its life source. And I want us to be as unstoppable as that stream. We have to be unstoppable, but we have to make a commitment to being unstoppable. Will the COVID-19 shut you down? Will the COVID-19 stop you? Will the COVID-19 cause you to cancel 2020? I think not. Yes, I've seen the memes. I want another version of 2020. Oh, Stephen King must have written 2020. Hello? This is the same 2020 that we anticipated, December 31st, 2019. New Year's night, this is the same, New Year's Eve night, this is the same 2020 that we thought about, that we prayed about, that we were so looking forward to because we thought 2019 was this and it was that and Hurricane Dorian and things didn't go right. Go back to our mantra. This year, the same 2020, I am not going to allow what I see make me forget the things that God said to me. I need us to know. I need us to know, like we know what God said to us. Everything that God promised us, everything that we have on our vision boards, my vision board is right over there. Everything that we have on those vision boards, they're not canceled, honey. Canceled. This is not the time to cancel. Yes, you may have had to postpone some things, but that stream is still flowing. That lake still needs you to survive. Just as much as the stream needs the lake needs the stream. That's how it works. It replenishes, one replenishes the other. And so when we think about being unstoppable, that's a huge commitment. You are a force that has come down through generations. You know how many women have built the platforms for where we are now? And we are going to think about giving up or not being unstoppable. We don't have that liberty. Come, look at me really, really good. We don't have that liberty. Too many women have fought. Too many women have bled. Too many women have died. Too many women have endured things that would make our minds crumble to get us to where we are now, for us to be the best version of ourselves, the truest version of ourselves. And we are going to let an invisible disease take that away from us? I think not. What this is right now, what the time is for us, is to incubate. That's what this time is all about. Isolation is not bad. Isolation is not bad. Isolation, listen, the only thing that can happen from there is elevation. I kid you not. Next year is going to be even more amazing than this year, based on all that we are going to do this year. So as women, we have generations of women who have gone before us to enable us to enjoy what we enjoy now. You know, in some corners of the world, people still can't even wear nail polish. And I sitting up here with nail polish on, gel nails at that. I have on makeup. In some corners of the earth, people could not even do this. And you're not going to be unstoppable. I wasn't always the diva wearing, drawing on my eyebrows and fixing myself the way I am. My good friend, Dr. Gandhi Thompson, she, sponsored me to go to a makeup course, and I fell in love. I literally fell in love several years ago with makeup. And I don't get up without putting on makeup now. Why? Because I'm growing, I'm evolving. I want to always be the truest and best version of myself. So I didn't always know how to put on the blush. I didn't always know how to put on the what is it, the bronzer, and to be able to glow. But it's something new that I learned. And so now, even with all my makeup, I'm even more unstoppable. Look, see how I sparkling and shining? So when we go back to our mantra that talks about powerful beyond measure, that is our best self. This power is something that we cannot even comprehend. If we look to the Bible, which is the greatest book ever written, we have Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20 that tells us that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly beyond all that we can think, according to what is that power that worketh within us. And that power is not anything to be taken lightly. That power is there to unlock everything that is inside of us. And as women, we are creative. We are able to create things from nothing. Nothing. Ask any mother who's ever had a sick child. You can create things from literally nothing. Ask an entrepreneur who was down to their last dollar. You can create things from nothing. That is the power that we have that has been passed down to us from generations of women. So anytime you feel weak, anytime you feel powerless, you don't have to think about, oh, I'm so powerless, I'm so weak, I'm not as strong as I thought I was. I want you to always stop, quicken your breath, take in a very deep breath, and just think about the women whose shoulders you're standing on. Just look around you from time to time and visualize these women. They are strong. You're standing on their shoulders. You got to be strong. I'm not exactly a slim girl, so for me to be standing on their shoulders, they got to be strong. You too are standing on their shoulders. Thankfully, I still have my grandmother here with me. She's all of 82 years old. I'm standing on her shoulders, and I'm standing on Zilpha Brown, her mother's shoulders, and I'm standing on Mama Zilpha's mother's shoulders, and way down through the generations. So I want you to always think of where you came from. That is going to help you to be the absolute truest version of yourself when you know that you have to embrace all of these things. And we'll get more into this, but if you're not able to do this, enlist people to help you. Just take a look at all the women who are in this room. So many of them are givers, so many of them are coaches, so many of them are mentors, some of them are my mentors, my thought partners, my friends, my confidants. I mean, just you name it. They're here, they're walking this out with me. Have we all arrived? No. Do we want to arrive? No. Well, if I arrive, then that makes it very boring. Where am I going to go from there? Where am I going to end? Is that it? The journey ends? That's kind of boring. I want to do some new things. I want to, explore some more stuff. We have a lot more things to do. So enlist people that will help you to unpack. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. Let me rush on. As I see, our time is going very, very quickly. Our next point, I said that we'd get to this. On our journey as women and empowering each other, let us always learn to harness our feminine energy. Listen, listen. Let me explain to you. Some people think feminine energy is something that's demonic or something that's cruel, or I don't know where people get all these things from. Don't ever dim your light. Don't ever dim your light. So let's debunk some of the myths of feminine energy. Some people say that when we are feminine or when we act feminine, or we not so much act feminine, but when we exude our feminine energy, we can be seen as weak. We can be seen as powerless. We can be seen as unstable. I mean, people have all sorts of things that they say about feminine energy. Let's debunk those myths. And so one of my coaches that, listen to this, I saw her as a coach and a mentor for so many years. And do you know that I manifested meeting her, the incomparable Lisa Nichols? I followed her for so many years. And then one day I got a call, do you want to come and hang out with Lisa Nichols this evening? And so I did. And I met her and we formed a bond, and I was able to actualize and to meet someone that I look up to and I saw as a mentor for so many years, mainly on YouTube and Facebook and through, anything that she releases, but I was able to meet her. And so what I've learned from Lisa Nichols over the years is lies are very powerful. Myths are very powerful. You know why? We tend to write them down in ink. When we write them down in ink, they're stamped in our minds and we lock them in and we feel like they are truth. So you know what she told us to do? You know what she says? She says, write the lies down in pencil. Write the lies down in pencil and write the truths down in pen. You have to take control of what is true in your life. You have to take control of what is false in your life. You have to tell yourself what the truth is. Nobody else knows your truth. Nobody else knows your truth. You know your truth. And what is the truth about feminine energy? So I'm debunking the myths that feminine energy is weak. We are unstable. We are powerless. Feminine energy is your strength. Feminine energy allows us to move in wisdom. Feminine energy allows us to move in wisdom. Feminine energy allows us to be discerning on a level that can blow your mind. No joke. And I'm certain many of the women in here can attest to it. Feminine energy is something to be embraced. We have to carve this thing out. Have you ever seen somebody carve out a coconut from the bark? That is what our feminine energy is like. We have to carve this thing out. This thing, and listen, coconut is one of the most healing and regenerating things on the earth. So I couldn't have chosen a better example. Your feminine energy is in there. We don't need to be masculine. Men are here, and we have masculine energy running in us, and some men have feminine energy running in them. What are we talking about right now? We're talking about us. We're talking about the female, the woman. What is running inside of us? Our feminine energy is beautiful. It is powerful. Embrace it. Woman, as Aaron would say, goddess, embrace it. That is your power. You see the meme where they said, I am woman and that is my superpower? Yes, absolutely. Yes. Like to the hilt. Yes, I am woman and that is my power. That is my superpower. So why am I going to hide my feminine energy? Why am I going to suppress my feminine energy to make somebody else feel good about themselves? Marianne Williamson's poem was enough. I am not ever going to dim my light or not shine so that somebody else could feel brighter. Sweetie, I don't know if you're going to have to buy yourself a candle. I don't know if you're going to have to buy yourself a flashlight. I don't know if you're going to have to go by the light of the moon. But sister here is not dimming for anyone, any man, woman, beast, or child, because I am a light. That is what I was created for. That is why two people came together 41 years ago to be able to exude this light, to be right here at this time, to be able to impart light to all of these beautiful women who are on this on this Zoom with me, on this live. This is why we're here. Yes, say it 10 times louder for the people in the back. This is why you have to know who you are. When you know who you are, that's how you're able to express yourself. That's how you're able to express yourself authentically. That's how you're able to be the truest version of yourself. You're a woman, girl. Did you know that? You are woman. You are woman. You know, I like to be extra. We got to be extra and we got to be unapologetic about it. Listen, we got to be very, very extra. So how do we carve it out? How do we hone this and harness this feminine energy? This is the time where we have to do the self introspection. And when we get to self exploration, I'll talk a bit more about that and what that looks like. But the self introspection that never ever stops. Self introspection is a continuous discovery and rediscovery. You ever found new things out about yourself? You ever took a second look at yourself? You ever looked in the mirror and saw something new on your face or in your hair or whatever else? I even see one or two grays popping up. Child, I'm not going to hide them. I'm going to let them, sort of come out kind of naturally. We'll see how they look, see if we're going to keep them. Continuously rediscover yourself. It's a fabulous journey. Life would be so boring without all of us, without all of our feminine energy, without all of our power. This power is amazing and it's awesome when it's harnessed in the right way. Because guess what? Feminine energy can be used for negativity. Feminine energy, there are many women, they have tapped into their feminine energy, and honey, they are out here killing it in the most negative way, in the most detrimental way. What do I want us to do? I want us to use our feminine energy for good, for positive. And when we carve this out, When we hone this is how we are able to be that light that we're supposed to be. So if you're taking notes, we're now going to the next point. And in talking about empowerment and women's empowerment, I always want to encourage us. And this comes from one of my sister friends. Her name is Brooke Enius. If you don't know her, look her up. She's absolutely amazing. She has a whole platform on womanhood. And one of the things she always says is become a woman of a lifetime. If you're taking notes, you can write that down. Become a woman of a lifetime. And so I can share with you what that means to me. What it means for me to become a woman of a lifetime is legacy. And we're going to talk about legacy. And we're going to talk about what living legacy is. But so when we talk about legacy, that's real empowerment. And that's not just for women, that's for everybody in the earth. When we talk about legacy and we talk about leaving something, that is empowerment. Listen to this. Think about this. You want to make an impact for generations of people who are not yet born. That's not egotistical. That's not selfish. That's not self-centered to want to be remembered. Do you know what that is? That's actually remarkable, to think about people that you will never meet, you will never get to know, and to want to leave a gift for them to help them on their journey. That's remarkable. And so when we are the women who we're supposed to be, when we commit to being women of a lifetime with an amazing and an awesome body of work that we can leave behind, or I wouldn't even say leave behind. So in one way, we're leaving it behind, but in the other sense, we're leaving it behind so that it can create the future. My good friend who's on here, Raquel Clark, she always says the best way to predict the future is to create it. So in this becoming a woman of a lifetime and in this legacy that we're building, we're creating the future. That's what we're doing. We're creating the future for people we don't even know. And so why would that be selfish? That is actually the opposite of being selfish. That is actually being very giving. That's being very mindful. You want to ensure that my sister's children and their children and the children that come after them have something, have a place marker. They have something to look on. They have a goalpost to not just meet, but to surpass. So that's why we have such an awesome responsibility to become this woman of a lifetime. And we can also do that while we're alive. We can, as we, because when we talk about legacy, legacy isn't something the day you die, then or the day before you die, you're going to package everything and then that's your legacy that you leave. You're building that one decision at a time. You're building that one step at a time. That's why it's so important to be a good person, not even just a woman, to be a good person, because you're building your legacy with every decision you make, every step you make. You're writing it. You're writing your legacy with every decision. Is every decision going to be perfect? No, every decision isn't going to be perfect. However, we have to string together enough good decisions to leave a good cradle, a good legacy that people can look upon. That's our responsibility. And so when you talk about living legacy, you want to have things documented. Yes, Raquel Pinder, write those books. Yes, Shaquille, tutor people. Yes, Erin, help people to know more about disability affairs and why we should be inclusive as a people. Yes, Tamika, show us how to be that strong female entrepreneur. Document, cement your legacy. Put your stamp in the earth. That is how that is how people are going to remember you. And why would you want people to remember you unintentionally? that doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even when it comes out, when you think about it, even though many people are doing that, they're just, sort of making things up as they go along. They operate very ad hoc. There's no rhyme to their reason. We have to be intentional about this legacy. So imagine your legacy as a cradle, and you have to know what you're putting into that. Keep pruning that, keep shaping that, keep shaping that, keep working on that. And so that legacy is going to be life giving, because that legacy is not just going to be cemented for people who come after you, but Sandia, who was on here, my sister Baronique, who's on here, my sister Mikkel, all of us, we can tap into everything that's happening now. I can tap into Mikkel's strengths. I can look at the rich legacy that Baronique is building. I can look at my niece Sandia, and I can see what she's building, and I can feed off of her. She can feed off of me while we're building the legacies that we're going to leave for people we don't even know as yet. And we're locked arm in arm, creating these legacies, creating these futures. That's what we're supposed to be. That's what empowerment is all about. Empowered women empower women. That's literally how it works. So look up Brooke Enius if you want to learn more about what she offers. She has it all packaged. That's not something I have to try to recreate. I don't believe in duplicating efforts and trying to envy what somebody else is doing. I'm inspired by what she does. I'm completely in awe of what she does. I like how she does it. She's packaged it and put it all together. So you know what? You can go right there and you can access it. Look her up, Brooke Enius. She's an amazing woman. And so then we also want to look at, and we just have a few more to go, staying true to who you are. If nothing else, stay true to who you are. And this goes right back to self-expression, goes right back to authenticity, being the best version of yourself. This is what calls now for the self-exploration that I said we'd get back to. You have the time. Yes, we all have the time. We all have the time to do self-exploration. Even before COVID-19, we had the time. Beyond COVID-19, we will have the time. You know why? Because we can't afford to not have the time. We have to take a look at ourselves. Michael Jackson was absolutely correct. We have to look at the man in the mirror all the time. We need to be looking at the man in the mirror, the woman in the mirror. Take time out. Like I said, self-exploration is something that can be intense. It can also be fun. It's something that I would encourage us to do often. Explore and learn new things. There is no expiry date on our growth. No expiry date on our growth. Growth is not one size fits all, but there's also no expiry date on it. And so what do I mean by self-exploration? Get to know yourself. Do you know how many people don't know what they like? They're afraid, or they apologize for what they don't like. What's that? What's that? What's that all about? Sometimes that's about a lack of identity. But when you explore yourself, when you commit, when you take the time out and you be super intentional about knowing self, knowing who you are, and this is going to become very important when we get to the last point about self-care. When you explore yourself, you know what your triggers are. That helps you to navigate the world properly. That helps you to know, oh, if I go this way, this is going to happen. Do I want that to happen? No. So I can make a different choice on the front end instead of always doing back end work. Self-exploration, that's almost like your what do you call it? What superheroes have. It's almost like it's your weapon. Self-exploration. Check in with yourself often. Figure things out. Figure things out. Erin is absolutely correct. Healing is a must. Yes. Sometimes we need to heal. My sister friend who's Anya Simone Bo, she can tell you all about that. There are times when we just need to heal in order to move forward and to be able to explore ourselves in a proper, healthy, and positive way. Like I said, there are so many women on here who are able to assist us with the things that we need. This is not about me. This masterclass is not about me. And that's why there are so many of us in here. And there are so many people in here who I know who I've asked to journey with me because this is about us. We are a community, we are a village, we are that tree that stands with all of these branches. I'm only the conduit. That's all I am. I'm only a portal. My wish and my hope for each of us is that you meet someone new in here. You connect with someone who you don't already know. Maybe Alicia doesn't know Baronique or Shaquille, and they can connect in here and they can begin a journey together. They can build a cradle. They can figure out things together. They can lock arms to share strengths, share ideas, share best practices for the different things that's happening in their lives. That's what this platform is for. This platform is not about Sandena Neely. Absolutely not. If that's what this was, shut it down now. That is not what this is about. This is actually so powerful that every time I thought about the session that was coming up, every time I thought about it, I would have to hold myself back from weeping, literally weeping, because I'm saying, God, you have given me these people. You have put these people on here. Even before you all got in this room, I said, God, you put these people on here. These people are trusting me to know what to say to them in this season of their lives. That is an awesome responsibility. And so that is not something to be taken lightly. That is something that has to be wrought through prayer. That is something that needs consecration. That is something that needs enlightenment because it is larger than me. It is not about me. It is about you. It is about each of you. It is about the collective us. That is what this is about. And so self-exploration, commit to it, look it up, research it, find your best tips, get to it. It's not something that you can delay any longer if you've never done it. And if you have done it or you do it, continue and keep doing it. And so the final thing that I want to go over that ties all of this together is people sometimes call me like the self-care guru. Self-care is a practice. Self-care is a practice. So let's see. How many of us know what self-care is? So the definition is really locked up in the phrase itself. So self-care is caring for yourself. Self-care is taking time for self. We've been talking a lot about self today, and that's been very intentional to get us to this very point. As I started, so we'll end where we started. As I started, as women, what are we? Natural givers. That's not something that we can shirk. Remember I said that? That's not a responsibility that we can shirk. We are natural givers. Natural givers. Now, I know we haven't been on a plane in a really long time, but I want you to remember the safety demonstration that they say every single time you jump on a plane. And you can probably repeat it with me. And it's a word that it's some words that we're longing to hear. How many people can't wait to get on the next flight? Anyway, thinking about all our missed flights. Oh boy. So think about what the flight attendant says every single time you get on a plane. And if they don't say it, I think you should be concerned. So during the safety demonstration, they always ask you to adorn your mask. If the airplane loses cabin pressure, they say that oxygen masks are going to be deployed and that they want you to adorn the mask to yourself first and then help those around you. I want you to think about why that is. Sometimes we think of that as cliche. We're on our phones when they're speaking, we're looking around, we're reading, Some of us are praying and meditating because we don't like flying. We're doing so many different things. But if you listen to them, if you watch them, JN, you are absolutely correct. You can't pour from an empty cup. I have it written here in my notes. This mask helps you to help others. And as I said, adorning the mask is something that I can unpack. That would take me a whole other class to unpack why we have to adorn the mask to ourselves. I've done talks on it. It's a very, very powerful talk because putting this mask on saves our lives. Saves our lives, and it saves the lives of the people that we serve. And this is the highest form of self-care. Adorning the mask to yourself first is the highest form of self-care because just as JN said, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Remember the stream we talked about? The stream that has to flow into the river? Remember how I said the river needs the stream just as much as the stream needs the river? This is what we're talking about. If you have an empty cup, and many people, even myself, I find myself sometimes pouring from an empty cup. And that's why we need our village. That's why we need people around us who can say, you need to recharge. You need to regenerate. You need to reset. And I think that's a huge part of what this COVID-19 is teaching us. Time to reset. Time to reset. Time to reset. We should be giving from the very top of ourselves. We should be giving from the highest self that we can be. Because guess what? When we give from our highest self, that's how we are able to show even more love to the people that we're serving. Why do you want to give them dregs? Have you ever seen what's left in a coffee cup when you're done? That's dregs. That's all the impurities. That's all the imperfections. But you think by running around like a chicken with no head, not caring for yourself, running helter-skelter, I have to do for everybody. We're all serious. I am important. I have to do for everybody. I have to give. I cannot stop. Really? You're giving them drags. The people you love, the people you care about, your sister friends, your teams at work, your colleagues, your church people, your civic organizations, you're giving them drags. You're not serving from your highest self. And so in order to do that, we have to pay strict attention to self-care. I don't have to run over self-care with you. Self-care is self-work. I'll give you some tips on self-care, but self-care is self-work. You have to commit to that. You have to figure out what that looks like for you. You have to determine what self-care is for Erin. What is self-care for Talamik? What is self-care for Candice? What does that look like? What self-care looks like for Sandena may not be what self-care looks like for Olivia and Lolita. Hi, Olivia, that's my middle name. You have to determine what self-care looks like for you. Self-care is an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing. Self-care might be going out for a jog. Self-care may be meditating. Self-care might be going to get your hair done. Self-care might be removing toxicity from your life. Audre Lorde, she said that self-care, self-preservation, she thinks so highly of it. Guess what she calls it? An act of political warfare. And I stand by that. I power to the people with Audre Lorde. Audre, A-U-D-R-E-L-O-R-D. I think her name is spelled. Once you type in Audre Lorde, you'll see the meme come up. Fierce feminist. Listen, this lady said self-care, self-preservation is an act of political warfare. That's how you have to see it. There's no holds barred on your self-care. First for yourself and then for those around you. That's how I approach everything. I have to be my highest self for myself first and then for the people I'm serving. That's how much I love them. That's how much I care about them. D. Thompson says self-care is buying a shoe in every color. If that's what self-care is for you, then you do that, sweetie. You do that. And you do that to the best of your ability. And you do it as often as you like. Self-care is different for everybody. For some people, it's coming home at night, running a hot bath, putting some candles around your tub, chilling out to some music. That's what self-care is for some people. For some people, self-care is cooking. That helps them to de-stress. Self-care is anything that is regenerating, that is helping you to reinvigorate, helping you to recalibrate. Any you want to put in front of there, that's what your self-care is. Re-energizing, resetting. If that's not happening, and you're thinking that what you're doing is self-care, then you need to rethink your self-care. Pull up your best tips. Email me, Facebook me, Instagram me. Let's go over what your self-care routine is so that we can pick out the best self-care routine for you. Find what works. And guess what? There's no, this is Sandena's self-care routine for the end, until the end of Sandena's life. No, self-care can change depending on what you need at certain times and certain moments. That is how serious self-care is, which is why self-exploration is so important. Which is why self-exploration is so important. Which is why identity is so important. Can you imagine being the confused little girl all your life? Not healing, not being able to regenerate, not knowing who you are and what you need? Oh boy. If that's anyone in here, contact me. Let's figure it out. Let's walk it out. It's not as difficult as you think. But you know what it takes? It takes work. It takes work. And guess what? It takes work on you. That's not anything to be afraid of. It seems fearful, but it's something that you can do. You're a fighter. I can feel and I can sense that there are people in here who are struggling, and you need to reach out to me, and we can get through it. You are an absolute fighter. You are a fighter. Our mantra could not have come at a better time. You need to write that down, modify it if you wish for whatever you need it to be, and you repeat that to yourself, not just every day, as often as you need to. You repeat that to yourself until that is inside of you, until that is coming out of you, until people can see that you are powerful, until people can see that you are beautiful, until people can see that you are strong, until people can see that you have a destiny. That is what you have to do. That is how serious this is. And so, as you pour, make sure that you are continually replenished. Y'all made a note of that? Make sure that you are continually replenished. And that brings us now to our shout outs. Who are you pouring into? Who's pouring into you? Who are you pouring into? Because I always believe, just like the stream and the river, just like the stream and the river that we talked about, your responsibility is not one-sided. You're not just pouring into people on end. You need people who are pouring into you as well. Raquel pours into me fabulously. She did it for years until she was tired at some points. And then she got the fruits of her labor by pouring into me and building me up and helping me to unearth things and to know who I am. Who are you pouring into? Who is pouring into you? Are you not pouring into anyone? Is there no one pouring into you? That's the kind of things that you need to think about. I pour into my husband, I pour into my children, but I have a tribe of women that I have to pour into. I'm someone who sort of like tills the soil. My sister friend, Simone Bo, she's what I call a gift gatherer. And I'm the person who tills the soil. So I'm not going to be with you for your entire journey in the way that I am when I'm tilling the soil. I can always be with you as a mentor or as someone who is there for advice, but I till the soil. I till the soil, I get it ready. I get you to a point where you need to flourish, and then you grow into other people. You grow to be with other people. You grow to journey with other people. And so there are many women on here who I pour into, and there are many women who pour into me. Dr. Missick, my friend, she doesn't like me to call her doc. She pours into me a lot. She feels my energy. She's able to call me and say, I feel that this is going on, or I sense this. Charlie, who's on here, I've never had the pleasure of meeting Charlie as yet. But guess what? Charlie is like a mentee to me. She can raise her hand and she can tell you that I have taken the time to pour into her because she reached out to me. We started and we connected. She told me what she needed. It's something that I can offer. And I hope I get to meet her soon, but you don't have to even physically meet someone sometimes to be connected to them, to build relationship. There are people on here who I have built relationships with. Shaquille Sands, Catherine, I've built relationships with these people. And these people are your village. Everyone you meet, if you feel some type of connection to them, that's not fake. They're your village. If they keep coming to you, if you keep pouring into them, they keep pouring into you. That's the purpose of it. They're your village. They're people that you can trust, people that you can honor with your journey, honor with your thoughts. I'm not saying spill all of your beings to them, but that same feminine energy that you're going to harness, that will give you wisdom and that will tell you how to move and how to navigate safely in the world. That's what people like me are here for, just to help you to navigate safely through the world. It doesn't have to be hard all the time. Every day doesn't have to be a struggle. Every day doesn't have to be a fight. That's not what it's meant to be. Life is beautiful. Life is great. Great as in big. Life is grand. Is it hard sometimes? Yes. Why wouldn't it be? That's what helps us to grow. That's what helps us to grow. And so, yes, there are times when it would be difficult. There are times when you have to, take a step back. I was in the very height of, just a very personal story. I was in the very height of being on the speaking circuit just about 2 years ago. And I remember having to make the decision to pull back and to not be as visible. And I didn't understand it. And to not accept speaking engagements and to, and I had a talk with my core group and I said, guys, I have to step away. I didn't know what it was all about. I was obedient. I had questions. I wasn't rebellious, but I took that time and I came out on the other side much better, more refined. The speaking abilities were able to even grow and flourish even more. So I'm thankful for that time and for that opportunity. So I'm happy that I got to shout out some of the women who are on here, even some who aren't on here. The DeQuessa Deans and the Melissa Halls and Latoya Moxie, Tonya Williams Lightborn. I mean, it's just so many people. Gandhi was on here. I think she may have had to drop off already. She's one of my closest confidants. She pours into me and I pour right back into her. You don't want toxic relationships with women. That's a whole other topic. But you want to cultivate positive relationships and connections with women. That's the level of empowerment that I'm talking about and that I'm offering to you today to take on. Empowering relationships with women. So that's it for our class. We went through quite a bit today. We went over self-expression and authenticity. We went over what it looks like to be your best self. We went over why it's important to be true to who you are as a woman. We talked about self-care. We talked a lot about self-care. We talked passionately about self-care. And before we take any questions, I just want us to come off of mute. And I want us to repeat our mantra. You can just take your mics off of mute. Are we ready?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
I am strong.
I am
strong.
I am beautiful.
I am beautiful.
I am powerful beyond measure.
I
I
am
am
powerful
powerful
beyond
beyond
measure.
measure.
This year,
This
year,
year,
I will not allow
I will not allow
what I see
what
what I see
what I
to make me forget
to make me forget
what God said.
what
what
God
God
said.
said.
Amen.
Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much for being here today. Do we want to take questions now, Steph?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, we want to take some questions.
Thank you so much.
I think some questions were coming up while I was speaking, but I wasn't able to get to the questions while I was speaking.
Let me see.
Are there any specific questions anyone has?
Yes, let's get some questions from the strong, beautiful women.
Yes.
Let
There was a question that I saw in the chat as well. I don't know if you can find it.
me see.
Hi,
Brooke
Sandena.
Reyes?
I had a question earlier, just talking about females exuding more masculine energy. What are your thoughts on that?
What was the question?
Females exuding more masculine energy. What are your thoughts on that?
Females exuding, when you say females exuding more masculine energy, you mean, what do I think
guess
about the
aggressive,
fact that some of them exude more?
Mm-hmm.
So there are some females who do exude more masculine energy. So what I think about that is, I wouldn't want to exude the masculine energy to the detriment of my feminine energy. I don't think that they should conflict or be in competition. I don't think that we need to let our energies compete. I think that we need to allow our feminine energy to exist and to be what it needs to be. Now, I don't think that we were created to have masculine energy as our dominant energy. That's not what I think. Some people may have that school of thought. That's not what I think. I think that our feminine energy is what should be the highest priority. I think that's what should exude from us, because it's all those things that I said. It's powerful. It's beautiful. It gives us our wisdom. I don't want to be walking around with loads and loads of masculine energy. I don't know how I would feel about that. I wouldn't be who I am right now if I exuded lots of masculine energy. And actually, when I was in high school, I was a tomboy. I wore I don't even remember the name of the shoe, but I didn't wear feminine, like, shoes at school and whatnot. I always wanted to wear tennis. I was involved in sports, and, I just really, really was tapping. I guess I was tapping into my masculine energy, but at no point though, did I allow the masculine energy to dominate the feminine energy. So I think even from then, even, when I was exploring myself, and masculine energy was more present at certain times, I don't think I ever allowed it to dominate or to overrule the feminine energy. What is your thought on it, Catherine?
It was interesting because about a year ago, this whole idea of feminine and masculine energy was presented to me. And it really caused me to think, because I think a lot of time, I can speak for myself, I am very driven, I am very go-getter. If I see something, I go after it with all that is within me. And so somebody was mentioning that that is more masculine. And so it's an interesting thought on it, and I've done research, and so I just wanted to know what your views were. But I think it's important to have that balance. We are female, and we will naturally have that feminine energy, but sometimes I feel like we can exude a little bit more of those masculine traits, especially in the workplace and different places like that.
But I don't know that I feel that being aggressive or being driven is because of masculine energy. Now, that is what is being portrayed, and that's what people think, because males tend to be, or are seen to be, or it's taboo that they are not taboo. It's what people see. People think that because men are more sometimes assertive, or they're more aggressive. And remember now, people always think that we should be in the back. Well, years ago, they thought we should be in the background. And so that's why when women started asserting their feminine energy, it was seen as aggression, and it was seen as angry black woman syndrome, or it was seen as um, you're exuding masculine energy. I don't think that's what it is at all. I don't think we should apologize for being assertive or aggressive. And I don't think we should this is my personal belief. I don't think that we should claim that as us showing masculine energy. I don't. I think that feminine energy can make us strong. Feminine energy can make us very strong, and that strength can be misconstrued for masculine energy.
Agreed.
Shaquille has a question.
Let's see one here before Shaquille. How do we navigate spaces that are dominated by men while maintaining our femininity?
And so the way we do that goes right back to what Catherine and I we were just sharing. I think that you should not try to imitate or try to pull out masculine energy, or try to match male energy, the energy from the males that you are around. I think that being assertive, being firm, being very direct, yes, it can be seen as aggression, but listen, you have to be persistent with your excellence, with your greatness. You deserve to be in the room. We didn't even get to talk about being thermostats. We didn't even get to talk about that. You are not a thermometer. You don't take temperature. You are a thermostat. You set the temperature. When I walk into rooms shift. It has to. And that's because that's what I intention. And I'm not going to ever apologize for that. I was in a very male dominated industry when I worked at Atlantis. And I held my own because I know who I am. So knowing who you are is going to help you to navigate that. Because yes, men can make you feel like you don't deserve to be there, or you have to prove why you're at this table. Oh, no, I don't. I went to school. I busted my butt in law school, and I deserve to be here. Not because I'm a woman, not because you're a man. We're not matching energies here. I'm not in a competition with you. I deserve to be here. I made my way here. I worked hard for what I have. And so I don't think that we have to match men's energies in order to navigate. Listen, intention yourself that when you walk into a room, you set the temperature. You're not a gauge. You're not a thermometer. Years ago, I made a decision to never be a thermometer again. I'm not marking 75 degrees. No, if I walk into a room and the room is heated or the room is too cold, if the room is too cold, I break the ice. Sweetie, I break the ice. Yes, I do. Many people in here can tell you that. I break the ice. If it's hot, Yes, I will break more ice and I will cool us down. What we need, I will provide. That's what we are. If we're givers, we have to be serious about that, you know. If we say that we're givers, we have to be very serious about that. And that means, again, we have to know who we are. We got to, if you don't know who you are, when you walk in a room, if everybody in the room upset, how are you going to be upset because everybody in the room upset? You don't even know why they're upset. You can just be angry for no good reason. No, you're a thermostat. So to my mind, that's how you navigate that, by knowing who you are and being that thermostat. We had another question, Steph.
Yeah, it says a lot of young women struggle with people pleasing and shrinking. How can they overcome this to live authentically in spite of the crippling fear of reapproach? This reapproach can come from other women too.
You're so right. That's Shaquille who wrote that.
Yeah.
So you're so right. So people pleasing, listen, if there's anything you need to leave in 2019 or not bring to not have brought to 2020, it's people pleasing. Let me tell you why. People pleasing comes from a very deep and dark place of, again, I mean, I can say this until I'm blue in the face, not knowing who you are. Your job is not to please people. You know why? Their goalposts, their marker is going to constantly change. So you're going to be very, very tired, actually, as a people pleaser, because people's whims and fancies are going to always change. I wouldn't even talk about shrinking. Can you imagine me continuously shrinking? I'm already short. I'm already like 5'2" on a good day. I'm already 5'2" on a good day, right, Mikhail? How tall are we? I'm already like 5'2" on a good day. How am I going to shrink to make you feel taller? I don't have the energy. I simply don't have the energy. And I wish more young women would come to that place. I know that for some of us, especially some of the 30 and 40 something year old women in here, honey, we grew to a place where we was tired. I could be honest with you. And that's not good English, but it's true. We was tired. You know how expensive and how tiring it is to please people. No, sweetie, and they ain't doing nothing for you. How can they overcome this to live authentically in spite of crippling fear of reproach once you know who you are? People's opinion do not matter. It ceases to matter. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have a high opinion of others, but that high opinion cannot be to the detriment of you. And that's where the reproach comes in. And that reproach, like you said, that could be very crippling and have you very fearful, very apologetic. No, baby. You have to, that's a decision. You have to come to that place where they do not matter. Yes, sometimes it can be women who appear to be very powerful, but I want you to consider this. Please hear me very respectfully. And I know once you think about it, you will agree. Even if you don't want to say that you agree, there are some very, very powerful women who are unhealed, who are very broken. They are in positions of power. They exert their will over you. I know they exert their will over you. They cripple you, and they are very, very broken people. And these are the people we're fearful of. We think they have it together because they're in a particular position. Being in a position doesn't make you any more powerful or any better a leader than the next person. If you're an unhealed person, if you're broken. And yes, it can come from other women. Women can be very, very nasty. Trust me and believe me, they can be very, very nasty. So like I said, knowing who you are and not caring about, you can't care about somebody else's opinion or their happiness or their pleasure more than you care for yourself. And this is why the self-love and the self-care is so important, because when you take yourself that seriously, and that this is the time to take yourself seriously. When you take yourself that seriously, you're not going to allow other people to demean you. You won't even have time for that. What the young people say? Bye, Felicia. You'll be bye, Felicia, in all day. You'll be by Felicia in all day. We have another question.
Yeah, what is the single most important thing you can say to young women prior to entering relationships, becoming mothers, and I think she said, and what would you say to those who are struggling with singleness? That's
What
powerful.
is the single most important thing you can say to young women prior to entering relationships, becoming mothers? I think you're saying if you're a mother before you enter a relationship.
No, Sandena, what I was saying was really, I wanted to know what what advice would you give to those who are, it's really um, three different categories. So those who are considering entering relationships, those who are mothers, but perhaps in single homes, and those who are struggling with singleness, um, thinking that they require some other counterpart to be with them to make them feel as if they are complete or whole. Like, what do you say in those situations?
Right. So the single most important thing, and I think we've said it a few times here, is knowing yourself. So once you know yourself, you know what you need, you know what your strengths are, you know what your weaknesses are. And so you want to always cultivate a home or a lifestyle that is not going to be dependent on somebody else. Because if that person makes a choice to remove themselves for whatever reason, and that's not even just for singles, even if you're in a marriage or a committed relationship, people can make different decisions. People can make devastating decisions. So you have to make some decisions that you are going to be okay no matter what. And so even when you talk about what is the single most important thing for entering the relationships, and you're a mom, you know, you're single, but you have kids. So that is something that you have to be very, very careful with. Depending on the age of your children, you know, you want to be very, very protective of, you know, who you have around them. The same way we talk about feminine energy, energies transfer, you know. When you have when you have thoughts of entering a relationship, you want to intention that the relationship that you're going to enter is going to be welcoming of your children. And
Yep. I
if at
think
any point you, pardon?
No, I was going to say that I think all of that is true, and definitely it's really true in what you're saying. But I think what I really wanted to put out there was more or less, you know, we have a lot of persons who are in relationships and perhaps did not consider just how deep and what is becoming of being a mother. Like you and I are mothers, right? And so we can definitely speak to different challenges that we face. You can go into relationships and feel that you are absolutely ready. And then, you know, lo and behold, life happens, you know, and then you find yourself in situations where you know, your faith is tested and what you thought you knew actually becomes your biggest challenge. So in terms of talking about motherhood and basically the conversation that you would have with young persons, adolescents, those who are just, you know, becoming of age, those who are young and feel as if the world is at, you know, at their fingertips, and they are, you know, consider themselves to be in situations where everything is, they want to try everything. What do we say to those persons, like my daughter, who is perhaps, you know, leaving school in a few years, and your daughter as well, right? Like, what do we say to those persons? Because we can't just take it to the point where we feel that the issues that we're faced with in life as young women, as women, right, begins at 40, begins at 30.
Yes.
What do we
Yes.
do to prepare them before they get to our age, before they get to a place where they are in a broken relationship, before they get
I
to a
got
place
you. I
where
got
they
you.
are in work? Okay, okay.
So
Okay.
listen, be direct. We have to have honest conversations. The way my mom those did it, As much as I love her and the way my grandmother those did it, I can't say that that was the best way. I don't know what y'all's stories are,
Yep.
but my
Yep.
story is a story of taboo.
Yep.
My story is a story of taboo. They always say, girl, you just too open. You just round here being an open book all the time. That's all I know. And I think they must have
Yeah.
forced me into that. So I would say that we have to have honest conversations with our young women. That's why I'm so happy to see young women in this room, because we have to tell them the truth. We have a responsibility to tell them the truth. We have a responsibility to even hold
Yes.
them accountable. And so I think the best thing we can do for them is have honest conversations. We can't shirk our responsibility to be a good steward of the things that have happened to us. No time for sugarcoating. If we thought sugarcoating would work, obviously our lives taught us that it won't. And we know everything that happens in the dark one day is going to come to light. So why hide it from our children? I think the way that we empower our children, and I always say this even when I talk to teams, we don't want to rule by fear. We don't want to parent by fear. And that's what my parents did to me. Well, my mom, not in a bad way. That's just what she knew. That's how she grew up. You don't want to parent by fear. You don't want to move, even in your singleness. You don't want to move by fear. How do you combat fear? You combat fear with knowledge. How do you get knowledge? Information. Provide your daughters and your sons with the information that they need to enable them to make the best choices. Listen, these children don't belong to us. I know we like to say and think these children belong to us. They do not belong to us. We are stewards. That's all that we are. They are going to hopefully grow and mature and move out or off the scene from our care, and we want them to be and to grow into responsible, positive, contributing members of society. They do not belong to us. But I think that we have the responsibility to be very honest with them. I'm not saying we have to be raw and brutal, but we have to be honest with them. Yes, sit them down and say, now, sweetie, let me explain to you what this is you're facing. Let me explain to you what I see coming down the road. Are they always going to listen? No. Are they always going to take your advice? No, I didn't always take my parents' advice. Were they right most of the time? Yes. Are you going to be right most of the time? Probably, yeah. Are your kids always going to listen? No, but your responsibility is to share that knowledge and that information, because that's what gives them the same power that I was talking about in the whole session. If I didn't come here tonight to share this information, some person would leave here without this particular knowledge and information. I, of course, a lot of the things I said tonight, you may have heard, but you may not have heard it packaged this way. It may have struck a chord with you in some way. And so I think that's our greatest responsibility, is to be transparent with our children in terms of the singleness, and that, be honest with yourself about what you need. Be honest with yourself, and then when whoever comes along, you be honest with them too. You be completely honest. You don't have to spill everything out to them the first time you meet them, but you have to maintain a very keen level of honesty. And I think that sets you free. Just like the Bible says, the truth makes you free. Once you act circumspectly, I mean, and not to get preachy, but in Micah chapter 6, verse 8, it tells you, what the Lord requires of us: to love mercy, I mean, do justly, walk upright, all these things. The blueprint is right there for us. And then that makes us sleep well at night. That makes us, when we put these things out there, we call in the good relationships. We call in the positive relationships with our children. And so, yeah, that's what I would say. Any other questions?
I don't see any others.
We can take one more question if anyone has any more questions. I don't see any more in the chat. You're welcome, Baronique. Be royal. If there are no more questions, it has been my complete honor to be here. I am so grateful for all of you who have joined in. Hi, Leonardo. Hi, Inspector Burrows. We have a male in the room. Thank you all, other than Stefan, I mean, our host. I want to especially thank Stefan again for this amazing opportunity. I want us to keep him covered in this assignment that he has with the Bridge Masterclass that has been keeping us over the entire month of May. There are still more days to go. Those of you who haven't signed up for the classes as yet, please do go and go to Grace Management Group, or you can message me, you can message him to find out how you can sign up so that you can know. There are so many topics. What's coming up next, Stefan?
For tomorrow, there is, for all of our photography lovers, we have 7. He's going to be talking about all things photography. So if you want to get into photography, or how you can just simply learn new tricks with your iPhones, your Samsungs, he'll be sharing on those kinds of things as well. And that's beginning at 7:30. That's a power pack class as well. And then the day after, we have Miss Dr. Simone Bowe.
Oh,
If she's still here,
yeah.
you can give a little highlight on her class. I don't think she's... Okay, she may have slipped out, but her classes...
Are you still here, Simone?
No, she slipped out. Her class is on Saturday. And then...
What is she teaching on?
She's teaching on all things human resources, that kind of stuff, resume writing, etc. What to do in an interview, what not to do. You know, Simone is the human resources guru.
Absolutely.
So I want to thank you once again, Sandena. You were a source of knowledge for many of these young women, these young, strong, beautiful women, like they said. And I don't know if Catherine's here. She may have just a few parting words for us, Catherine.
Well, Sandina, exceptional session, was really blessed by it. Of course, you know I'm already in your private chat with more questions to pick your brain. So I would really encourage those of you who are on here who have personal questions that you may have not felt comfortable to put in the chat or to even voice, to please reach out to Sandina directly. Sandina, can you give your Facebook information and that kind of stuff so people could stay connected with you?
Yes, so you can find me on Facebook at Sandena O. Neely. I'm also on Instagram at Sandena Neely. I'm also on Twitter at Sandena Neely. I'm also on LinkedIn, Sandena O. Neely. I have unlimited ways for you to reach me on any of those platforms. They're all open, and you can access me there.
Yes, so please utilize these resources. And don't forget, tomorrow at 12 noon on the Queen's College Center for Further Education page, we have our 3rd scholarship winner that we will be announcing. So be sure to follow our page, Queen's College Center for Further Education, if you haven't already. So far, we've had Laurel Smith and Anton Duncombe as winners for our summer 2020 training. So definitely want and excited to announce the next winner tomorrow.
All right, quickly before we go, Erin, do you want to say anything about your class, which is coming up on the 28th?
Hey everyone. Oh, thank you so much for this day. This day was more than needed, Goddess. It is always an absolute divine pleasure to listen to you, to be in a space with other women who not only are able to be vulnerable, but to be transparent and to be a support for each other. On the 28th of May, I am a disability inclusion consultant and an advocate. My name is Erin Brown, and I will be speaking about diversification through disability inclusion. You would have heard or you would have read in the chat a lot of the statements that I was making was very inclusive statements. A lot of times we feel when these things happen to us in life, life is over, and as Sandena said, we got to reset. We are the priority. We are strong. We are powerful. This does not change, irregardless. For me, my talk will be more about all of us being brand strategists, all of our companies, how to now enlarge your territory through disability inclusion, how to move from just garnering a local or a national audience and now ranging forward into the international, worldwide, global, legacy type of movements that you would be able to do through disability inclusion. So I thank you so much for joining us. Continue, don't leave without us. Let's stick together. Sandena, God bless you. I love you, I appreciate you, and together we do.
Together, we definitely do.
Awesome. With that being said, any last words, Dr. Neely?
When Stefan did my flyer first, it had Dr. Sandena Neely. I said, are you being prophetic, Stefan? I just want to thank everyone again. It has been a complete honor. It has been absolutely more than I could have anticipated. That's the way God works in my life. He puts his super on my natural, and we end up with things like this where I'm leaving here full. I'm leaving here completely full, which is obviously not what I would have expected, but I'm feeding off of your energies, and I look forward to communing with you all in the spaces that you would invite me to commune with you with. Thank you once again, Stefan. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, guys. See you tomorrow. Enjoy the evening, everybody.